Hi, third graders. So yesterday you were able to build your sliders and figure out what you were going to use as your slide and then explore those different materials and kind of come up with some predictions that you had based on what you learned in yesterday's lesson. So today you're actually going to investigate. You're actually going to put your items to the test. So you should have your friction investigation worksheet. And before you even start this, I want you to watch the rest of the hands-on portion of the video and listen to those directions so you have an idea of what you need to do going forward. But this is going to quickly outline it for you. So we know that friction is the force that is acting in the opposite direction. So I think it's really important to remember that something that has the most friction is less slippery, and something that has the least friction is more slippery. So if you roll a ball on grass, then there's going to be more friction than if you roll the ball on the hardwood floor inside of your house, right? Because that hardwood floor is more slippery than the grass is. So remember that as you are thinking about this. So I built just 3 sliders today, one out of cardboard, one out of a paper towel, and one out of a piece of a rag that I cut. And I just put 1 penny on, and then I built my little slide. I used a piece of cardboard, and then I have about 6 inches of books stacked up. So describe what I would do in each trial. So I just thought that I would, and I kind of answered both of these questions in the first, but I said I'll test some separately and then 2 at a time and then all 3 because I wanted to see what they are like just on their own. And then of course I want to start to compare them. And then how will you decide which slider has the least friction? And how will you decide which has the most friction? I left that blank for you because I want you to think about that. What item do you think would have the least friction? Okay, the least resistance. And which item do you think would have the least friction, which would mean the more slippery it would be, and then which would have the most friction. So I want you to think about that based on your knowledge, okay? So let's go ahead and turn the page. Again, you can do whatever you want for this. I want you to do 4 different trials, and really this is just you doing testing whichever items, whichever sliders you want, and then going ahead and writing down your observations. So I decided that I was going to do a cardboard with 1 penny, a cardboard, my cardboard versus my paper towel slider, all 3. And then I was going to do all 3 sliders, but put an extra quarter on the rag and see what happens. And you might want to do something different, like change the height of your slider. So maybe you want to do one tested at 6 inches, and then maybe you'd want to add an extra book so that your slider would go higher and see what would happen if that were the case. So it's up to you for what you would like to do for that, okay? So let's see here. I actually did some tests of this I did my 1 penny alone, and then I did the 3 of these already. So what I noticed, the cardboard with 1 penny alone, it took about, let's see, 2 seconds to get down my slide. Okay, and then when I did my cardboard versus my paper towel, I'm gonna go through it right now. My paper towel, it actually needed a little push. It kind of got stuck. So I'm wondering why that is. Why would it kind of get stuck? Let me see if I can show this to you. So if I take my cardboard and my paper towel, maybe this time it'll work a little bit better. Okay. And I'm gonna let go of them at the same time. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that time it worked, but you could see that my cardboard went down a lot faster than my paper towel did. So I'm thinking about why that is, okay? And then I would test all 3 sliders, and then I actually wanted to play around with the weight because my prediction was that the rag has more friction since it was the most rough of my material. So I thought, well, maybe if I add more weight onto it, it would slide down at a quicker rate, okay? So I'm gonna leave that up to you. I don't wanna give it away right now if that's something that you wanna do. And once you're done with your experiments, you're gonna turn the page and you're gonna go to claims and evidence. So basically what you are gonna do on this is write We think that blank has the most friction. So which item do you think had the most resistance, was the slowest going down? And I thought it was the piece of the rag based on what I saw, and that was that it was the slowest down the slide, okay? And then I said we think that the cardboard has the least friction, and as you saw, it got to the bottom first. So you're gonna go through and answer these questions. You're gonna say why you think the way that you think, and then what evidence based off your experiment supports your claim. And at the very end, in your additional investigation, what would you want to try another time? So if I had more time to do this, I would definitely want to add different weights to my sliders. I would want to have different materials. I have Legos in the classroom. I don't have them here, so I would want to use more than 3 sliders and see if there were any differences with that. So have fun with this. Again, you get to choose whichever experiments that you want for your different trials. You can even do more if you want to. And then be sure to observe, and your observations might be how long it took. It might be what needed help to get down and what didn't, depending on what you use. And hopefully by the end of this, your goal is to learn about why something might have more friction than something else and what might be causing that. What did you learn about the surface of something that would make it more or least resistant? Okay, so have fun with this, and I can't wait to see what your observations are at the end of your experiment.